So I'm sitting here talking to a friend, right? And I just was talking. Today's been a day with me talking to my friends. I was on the phone earlier with a good friend of mine that lives in another state in the South. So this woman, I met her at the club, right? Now, what's funny to me is that she is like the second or third person to say, "When I first met you, you were so shady to me." Yeah, I know. Yeah, because you know me from a different place than they do. They met me in a club, and I was working. I'm a
Your
different person
focus.
when I'm working.
No, your focus.
That and some of the times that they had me working, I was doing something that was not my job, which was at the door. I'm not the person to be at your door collecting your money. Not because I steal or anything, but because um, I don't pay attention well enough. And plus, I want to dance. That's the whole thing. I just want to dance. So you can't leave me at the front with the money because I'm gonna go dance when my song come on. So Hillary, I'm gonna have to bleep that out. So my friend, when
That's where the money went. That's why the bodies and the numbers didn't add up. I'm sorry. While you're editing.
so um, Hillary would come into the club and she would just walk past whoever was at the door collecting the money. What I didn't know is that Hillary had known the club and bar owners for years. And they never said, "Oh, this is my friend Hillary. She can, just let her in." They would say hi to her once she came in, and she would just sit at the bar. And I'm sitting there like, "What the fuck is going? Like, you don't see me sitting here, bitch?" Like that type of thing. And it wasn't until later that I learned that they had been friends for years and knew each other and stuff like that. So my interactions with her from that time on was always, "I don't know who the fuck this bitch thinks she is." And her name on social media at the time was Queen of the Universe. So you walking past me at the door and your name is Queen of the Universe. Now I love the Queen of the Universe part because bitch, go off. I live. But you can't be walking past me at this door. So she was like, "Yeah, when I first met you, you were so shady to me for the longest time. And I did not know why because I just thought you were fab and I just wanted to be your friend." She's the second or third person to say that to me. So I'm going somewhere with this. Just hang in there with me. So when I had back surgery, I was up in Morristown. And this is where she was from. That's where she grew up, in Morristown. So I didn't know at the time that she was living there. I didn't think anything of it. So I posted a picture on Facebook and said that, I'm in the hospital, and I tagged the hospital where I was. She saw the picture on Facebook and called me on Facebook and said, "Bitch, I'm down the street. Do you need anything?" Her and her daughter came. I said, "I need some undershirts or something like that." It was some like in some candy or something. Her and her daughter went and got what I asked for. I forget what it was at the time, undershirts or something else, and brought it to me at the hospital. And we sat up there and talked. That was the first time she and I had ever really sat down and ever had a conversation because she saw the picture on Facebook and said, "I'm going to go see him." You can't buy relationships like that.
I know that story.
The other story, my friend Lisa, I'm walking downtown with my sister, Crystal, who is no longer with us, unfortunately. So me and Crystal and I are in the park downtown in the city where we live. And we're just walking in the park talking because there was a music festival. So we walked away from the music to go have a conversation. And as we're walking, this woman walks up and just starts a conversation with Crystal. So they fall into conversation. And I'm standing here like, I don't know who this is. But we're continuing walking, right? And so the woman introduces herself or whatever, and she said that she had just come up from Atlanta. And I said, "Oh, I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta. I just got to go down there, and find a place to stay." And that woman looked at me and she said, "You can stay with me." This woman I had never, to my recollection, I had never seen her before in my life. If you ask me at that moment, I had no idea who this woman is. Come to find out, she had been coming to parties for years, and she knew who I was. And she said, "Every time I saw you at a party, you were so shady to me." And I'm like, what is going on with, like, I know that I could be, back at that time, I was a slightly different person. Slightly. And, and I know that there was some people, like, if I don't know you, I'm just not talking to you. I was very like that. And I'm working. So there's certain things I do when I'm working that's slightly different than when in regular whatever. She had her daughter living with her grandson, and her son living with her, and invited me to stay in their house. First time having a conversation with
Was that the ones who had COVID?
me. Well, that's the other part of the story. When I went to go live with them, when it was time for me to go live with them, the entire house got COVID, and I couldn't go stay with them. So I never ended up actually living with her, but just the fact that she was willing to let me come and stay in such an intimate space with her children and her grandson was amazing to me. And the fact that she's also said you were so shady to me with I didn't realize I was being that shady. What some people think is shade is simply me being really inner focused. It's not even that I'm not paying attention to you. I'm just really paying attention to me, because I'm the only one I got to pay attention to me. So I really pay attention to me. It's not that I'm not talking to you. I probably don't remember where I know you from, and don't want to walk up to you and say the incorrect thing from an interaction that doesn't exist, because I can't remember where I know you from. So oftentimes I just won't say anything. If you come up to me, more often than not, you'll remember where you know me from, and then you can start the conversation. And that's kind of how I do things, because my memory doesn't often allow me to go and recall things like that.
You know, two people that I've seen at the thing, and I don't know who they are.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Speaking of, do you have the yearbook?
Are that? I think I do. I believe I do.
Can I see it?
Yeah. Sure. So I was asking you, do you know who Charlie Kirk is? Charlie Kirk, I don't know what.
I was reading before you.
Oh yeah.
But I'm gonna listen.
Charlie Kirk was a guy. I don't know what organizations or whatever he belonged to. What I do know is that he spoke often about the Second Amendment, us being allowed to have guns, and he thought that a few people dying every year was the price that the American public paid for having the right to have guns. He also said that black women weren't mentally astute enough to run things. He said that out loud. You can Google that. It's recorded on video. Can I see your lighter, please? This man said a lot of dangerous things about people. He supported, not just with his words, with his actions and with his money and with his status. He enacted a whole lot of things that can be used against people who have a lot of melanin. So there are people online who are going, yeah, but a human being is dead, and kids have lost their father, and a woman has lost her husband, and I do not care. And the fact that you expect people with melanin to care shows that you all are mentally deficient. You all really are not aware that you have lost this particular part of the battle, because we are not going to feel sorry for the fact that a white supremacist, a Nazi by any other name, is still a Nazi. Whatever it is, we're not going to mourn him with you all. You all had stopped Congress to do a moment of silence for this bastard. And people are going, what about his children? His children are probably the seeds of the same racist edicts that he had. Because what the fuck? No apple tree grows oranges. Apple trees do not grow oranges. So, what do I think of his children? I think they are like their father. I don't care how old they are. I think that his wife agrees with his politics and with his humanitarian values, if you can call them that, and that she's going to raise her children with those same ideals. That's what I think. I think that this country has had a history of violence, and for you to think people should be nonviolent in the face of you all making very violent policy against us, when you take away health care, when you take away immediate care, when you take away social services, when you limit access for people to better themselves, you think we're supposed to be what? We're supposed to have empathy, sympathy? No, we're not going to do that anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to laugh in your faces and we're going to ignore the fact that another racist has died. I saw this young lady, her name is Jasmine. She has Jasmine's Garden on TikTok. And she said this, and I couldn't think of a better analogy for this situation. And it was, when you go to if you have cancer and they kill the cancer cells with radiation or chemo or whatever, do you mourn the fact that the fucking cancer cells are dead? Right. So why would I mourn this fucking cancer cell? Why would any of us mourn this? You all have been drinking your own Kool-Aid for way too long, and you fall into this abyss of disillusion. It begins with your relationships, because let's address the fact that let's talk about the fact that he is leaving a wife and children who are going to be just as racist. That woman had and whether I don't even know if she agrees with his politics. What I do know is that she tolerated them. Intolerance is too much. When you tolerate people making policies against other people in ways that limit their health care, in ways that limit their autonomy, in ways that limit their ability to create financial gain for their families, when you do all of that, you don't get to expect those same people to mourn you. See, the what is it called? There is a term for people who deal with a situation, who have one situation in reality, and mentally they are not grasping the situation. I forget what it's, some type of delusion. But whatever that type of delusion is, has you all believing that we should look at him as a human being. I don't see him as one. You have to treat other people humanely in order for me to believe that you are human. That's not what happened. Let me talk about something that I call the architecture of being lost in emotion, because I believe that's what part of this is. You see death, or some of you see death, particularly people who are religious, and you all are the biggest ones with this bullshit. You see death and think that there is something special that has happened. You think that we should revere the life that is no more each time somebody dies. When Emmett Till was killed, Trayvon Martin, there's a whole lot of names. I could go down the list and list the plenty of black people who have been killed senselessly, who have been killed by authority figures, and white America did not mourn them for the majority. The majority of white America did not mourn them, is what I'm trying to say. So why should we? You all fall into categories that people have studied for a very long time, and what they do is psychologically play with your emotions, and they know what tunes to play in a way. I don't know what that's the first analogy that came to mind, is they know the song to sing in order to get you to respond as the chorus. They know what to say. The roof is on fire. We don't need no water, they do that to y'all. They play something, you get emotional about it, and they have trained you to have a response to death that is emotional as opposed to biological. Everything biologically alive will die. That is nothing to mourn. That is nothing to go up in a tizzy over. That is nothing for us to have sympathy over. What we should be doing is celebrating the fact that there was a life and it left a legacy of information and experiences that we can learn from. But with this motherfucker right here, what I have learned is maybe you shouldn't talk so much. This man was killed during a speech in the middle of saying something to the effect of something about gang violence and shootings. Somebody brought up a question about shootings in America, and he said he brought up gang violence in his answer, and then that's when he was shot. This whole bait and switch situation where you all always try to take something and make it seem bad on our part so that we don't look at the bullshit that you all are doing. Like when they discuss drag queens and transsexuals in Congress, when that's less than 1% of the population. But they have you all up in arms about what bathroom they go to and whether they can read to your children and should it be legal and should they be receiving care. You all aren't even paying attention to the fact that they are using these people to strip you of your autonomy. Because they can't make the law to just apply to them. If it applies to a human body, it's going to apply to you too. And you are missing that. They have created emotional situations to take money from you. It shouldn't cost $1,000 for you to join in matrimony with another person. That is a fever dream that they have created to capitalize off of your emotion. The more emotional you are about it, the more money you are willing to put into it. There are people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to show other people that they can be in a relationship. They pluck at your emotion. They play the song. They have got you ready to dance. So after you have gone and you have spent all this money getting married, you now need a home, if you don't already have one, to house your new family. You house your new family, you have your new home, you got to transport your new family. Not only that, during this time, let's back up a little minute because it got emotional way before the wedding. Because they started with the engagement. The De Beers family has created the illusion that some man needs to spend 3 times the salary that he makes in 1 month in order to prove that he loves a woman. And you all fell for it.
They don't even have real value.
Not only do they have real value, not have real value, they aren't the hardest thing that they project to be. And they aren't as rare as they have us think. They stockpile them so that they can control the pricing of them to make us pay more.
Yep.
It is your sentiment that they are playing on. So you got this engagement. You now have an engagement party. You didn't have to have a bachelor party, bachelorette party. They get you, I already talked about the wedding. After that, there's baby showers, birthday parties, engagement parties, and let's not forget family funerals. None of which require money in and of themselves, all of which have been used to pluck at your emotions and make you come out of money. Each and every one of them. It doesn't cost any money to tell somebody that you are going to commit yourself to them at all. The state doesn't actually have to be involved in that decision at all. You do not need a document to prove that you are in a relationship with somebody. Why do we think that a piece of paper makes it legitimate? What is legitimate in your mind? What does that mean? That means that you now have security. It also means that you have their debt. So what you need to do is really watch what your partner is doing and make sure that they aren't digging you in the hole faster than you can climb out of it. But they play on your emotions. They play on your emotions. They tell you, even if all of that stuff is going on, you have a partner who is drowning you in debt, who is not faithful, who does not contribute to the household, and you go and you tell your best friend, your girlfriend, or maybe your mother, your father, whoever it is that you trust, and you say, look, he's not doing what we agreed. What should I do? What do they tell you? Chorus, what do they tell you? They tell you to stay. You should stay with them. You work it out. Marriage is forever. They play on your emotion. They make women think that they need to stay in an abusive situation in order to get into the kingdom of God. This is what a good wife does. She endures for her husband.
You gotta forgive him 70 times 7.
Say that louder, please.
You gotta forgive him 70 times 7.
70 times 7. What I would like to know is how come you all don't think that this was made up by men in order to keep a whole bunch of people subjugated to them? The concept of forgiveness is very interesting to me. It's very interesting to me, and this is a slight little tangent because the concept of forgiveness involves you allowing somebody else who has committed a wrong against you to you are releasing them, I guess, of liability in that situation by forgiving them. You are releasing any emotion supposedly that you have. You are releasing any type of gripe that you would have with this situation. What that does is set you up to allow a whole bunch of people to disrespect you. See, we aren't in the habit of making people earn forgiveness. They go, forgiveness is for you. I can let go of the emotion and never forgive the motherfucker, but never think of him again. Or her. Whomever. It does not require me to forgive anybody. I shouldn't have to. Because what that allows, you start forgiving on small things and it grows in scale. Which is why we have forgiven the atrocities that these people have perpetrated against us for 3 centuries. We forgive them because we want to get into heaven. We forgive them because that's what God would do. We forgive them because Jesus said what? What did he say? Do you know what he said? Did you actually read the fucking book? All the way through, not certain chapters. See, that forgiveness thing is something that you have to be mindful of because that word, that whole concept has been used to allow people to continue to do shit over and over again. You know that the priest is fucking the boys, but you forgive them. You know that the minister isn't faithful to his wife, but you forgive him. You know that the deacons are stealing money, but you forgive them. You know that the first lady is a bitch, but you forgive her. All of these people, there's one thing that I think you all should know, is that all of these people know that they are lying to you. They know that the things that they are telling you are a bunch of bullshit and propaganda held up by your emotion. They use emotion, again, to pluck at your heart. They know how to play the song to make you sing the motherfucking chorus. As soon as they play it, they know that you are going to be right there rallying. They know. This motherfucker gets shot. He's an advocate for gun violence. So to me, it was a worthy death. You died the way that you believe life should be. I don't understand where sympathy should come in. I don't understand where forgiveness should come in. If that's the case, I think we should forgive the man who killed him. Whoever it is, man, woman, chick, child, we should forgive them. If you tell me, how about this? I'll trade my sympathy for your forgiveness for the killer. I'll have sympathy for him being dead if we forgive the killer. See how fucking stupid that is? But you want forgiveness. I think that's another word like belief. It allows people to run over you. I don't think forgiveness is the word. I think we should educate ourselves in those moments. When somebody has wronged us and they are going to continue to do it, and you see that it is a pattern that they are not willing to break, it is up to us to set boundaries then and protect ourselves. We're doing it wrong. We're allowing too much. Which is why we have allowed people who used to eat us after they hung us and after they set us on fire. We still can have people online uttering shit about having sympathy for their fucking progeny. With forgiveness. You want me to forgive people who strung up pregnant women who were 8 months pregnant and cut the babies out of their bellies. You want me to forgive them? Because that's their progeny. That still runs in their blood. You can't tell me that that wasn't them. We're not even having that conversation. Just like I am my ancestors, they are theirs. Which is why he died the way he did. See how that works? There used to be a saying, and it's not that it used to be. There's a saying, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. This man lived that way. But y'all and y'all fucking emotions, they know which instrument to play to get you going. They know how to make you dance. They know which bands will make you motherfuckers dance. You don't have control over any of the things that they suggest that you don't need money for. You don't have control over any of the things that they suggest that you have, but you have to pay for them. You have to pay when you have children. Used to be free. You had a kid at home in the bed with a midwife. Not really free. Maybe you gave the midwife something for coming, but it wasn't the $10,000 or $20,000 hospital bills that people are bringing home from having a kid now. We already talked about marriage. They even tell you things that aren't there, but they have created, like masturbation. Well, for women, anyway, there is some passage in there about a man spilling his seed on the ground. It's very specific. But if it doesn't go on the ground, is it still a sin? Mine goes into a little washcloth that I keep specifically for such purposes. So is that still a sin? And you all seem to think that people are actually born gay or straight or something. Because they've trained you to not even look at the variety. They've trained you to only look at the opposite of you. For a relationship, I want to know how that makes sense. How does it make sense to try to relate to somebody who's the complete opposite of you? How is that relatable? We're just over 2,000 years in this particular timeline, and men are still talking about they can't figure out women. But you all think it's a good idea to continue to force heterosexual relationships. Women are choosing a bear over a man. And yet you all still think it's prudent to push the idea of heterosexual relationships. Oh, wait. Hold on, let me stop, because I hear y'all in the background going, but how will we reproduce? But how will we reproduce? But how will we reproduce? You're fucking idiots. What I'm talking about are relationships. I'm not talking about specific actions. A relationship has never been required for people to reproduce. A sexual experience is required, but not a relationship. Because, see, your mind thinks that once two people create a child, both of them are going to be there and raise the child. And we know that that doesn't happen often in our society. We know that that's not even half, percentage-wise. Most people grow up in single-parent homes. More than half of the population grow up in single-parent homes. So how is it that you still think that the idea of two people getting together to try to relate who are completely opposite, and because they produced another person, that they should stay in the same house? Here's an idea, and this is weird, I know. And let me say this. I'm a preface this by saying, yes, I am a gay man, but that is not why I'm saying what I'm about to say. I am saying it because to me, in my mind, it makes sense. A woman knows another woman's body better than any man can. A man knows another man's body better than any woman can. You might hate that. It might sound too simplistic for you to digest. It might go against everything that you were ever taught, but it's the truth. Every man knows another man's body better than a woman does. And vice versa. Y'all forget, men play with their bodies all the time. They know exactly what to do to make another man happy. And women, the same. Men complain that it's too complicated to find out what it is to do to a woman to make her have a good time. And we still think that the idea of people of the opposite sex cohabitating to create other people and then raise them in that fucking confusion is a wise thing. because it's what's been played out in front of you over and over and over and over every day of your life. Every screen that you see, everything that you have points you in that direction. A lot of people don't even have the mental capacity to fathom the idea that maybe this is not the way society should be. Maybe the ideas that we have should be expanded in ways that we once thought were incorrect. Maybe we should try them now. Maybe they'll work now. See, there's this thing that a lot of y'all fuck up with, and it's called change. The universe and the world does it every day. A lot of you motherfuckers resist change because it's uncomfortable and new. Change is going to happen without your permission. Change is the one thing that doesn't need your permission that's going to happen. You can facilitate the direction, but you can't stop change. And some of you want change but don't want things to change. You want new shit, but you want old shit to stay the same too. You can't have it both ways. Change is always going to win. See what's happening in Nepal right now? See what's happening in France right now? And I also heard, was it Japan or China? 3 huge economies toppled in under 72 hours. This is not the world we grew up in. It is time for us to abandon those old ideas. I know they make you comfortable. I know they make you comfortable. It's certainty, and a lot of us are addicted to certainty. You need to get over that. Times are going to be real unpredictable right now. And in that unpredictability, there will be many, many opportunities. You have to keep your eyes peeled. The best opportunity for you, for me, for all of us, is to allow the idea of expansion in our culture. We should be ready, willing, and able to leave motherfuckers alone when they are living their life without bothering you. I don't care what the situation is. If they are not bothering you, if they are not injuring you or anyone else, not harming them, I'm the type of person, I don't even care if you're harming yourself. As long as you aren't harming anybody else. Do with you as you would want to do with you. That is not my concern. And we need to learn that. A lot of the stuff that we concern ourselves with are not our concern. This should never have been any type of agenda where transsexuals or drag queens or any type of alternative lifestyle was on the floor of Congress. And we allowed that, as opposed to having them vote more money to come into our neighborhoods so that we can do better things. We can plant gardens so that we can have fresh fruits and vegetables, so that we can teach people useful skills like horticulture, as opposed to the bullshit myths that we teach of Greek mythology and Roman mythology that the kids have now in school. How about something useful? How to raise something out of the ground that you can eat. If supply chains for food were to break down, what would we need to do? I don't think you all are ready, and it's fucking terrifying that we are still at this level where people won't engage intellectually enough. You have given over your whole critical thinking process to people who are going to fuck you over. All they want is your money. They want I'm sorry, that's a fallacy. They want your money and your energy. And you don't. I was just having a conversation about energy with another friend of mine, and how we do not understand how misdirected our energy is and how powerful that misdirection is. We don't understand it. I was having a conversation online on one of the social media apps with another friend of mine who is of the opinion that we should have sympathy because this man passed away. So I engaged her in conversation, and normally I would have just scrolled, but this time I decided to engage her in conversation for one reason and one reason only. I'm petty. And there was a post that I put up that she put a comment that I wasn't too thrilled about. I thought she was trying to be a little bit funny. So I decided it's my turn. That being said, um, she said she put up the post saying, the same thing I talked about earlier about him having a wife, him having kids, and we should have sympathy. And I know that this woman has a certain religion that she practices and has is part of her belief system. I get all that. And to that effect, I say there's some other books that I would like her to read, her and anybody else who is of that opinion, because you cannot. You can't ask for liberty, and you can't expect the world to get better by begging the people who are taking it from you, by begging the people who are taking your liberty, by begging the people who are stealing wealth from your children, by begging the people who are stealing property in real time in large doses from every community that we have, and driving up the prices of houses so high that nobody else can afford them. We don't understand how deeply it goes to the fact of y'all believe in the same motherfucking God, so they are riding off your energy because they understand it really isn't what they say it is when it comes to God. They understand that transmuting your energy has worked for them because you're going to come in there and you're going to put your blood, sweat, and tears in their coffers every fucking week. They've asked you for 10% and you fucking deliver. What return have you gotten? I don't understand how you think you pray to the one God, bless you, just because I want to bless you though. You pray to the one God that you all think that you share, and who do you think that motherfucker is blessing? Them or you? Who is God listening to? Who has the wealth? Who has the land? Who has the companies? Who are the oligarchs? You think that's what God wants? You pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and they still get all the wealth? Is that how your God works? Make it make sense. Give up the idea that God is a person, because the only person that they have had you worshiping all this time is them. The personification of any deity is weird to me. Why would anything that could create all of this diversity be mad at any of it? That's weird. That's like that's why it is. I just realized it. Because some of you motherfuckers hate your own children. Some of you hate the things that came out of your own womb. Some of you hate the fruit of your loins. You see it, you're jealous of it, you don't want it, you can't abide by it. You don't like the lives that your children live because they're living better lives than you. And because you can't articulate that, you act out in other ways with all this hatred, with all this confusion. If there's nothing else that you hear me say that makes sense to you, I need you to understand this. In this country, they only educate you enough so that you think. They educate you enough so that you think you know something. Just enough so that you won't go looking for more information. That's a deliberate plan. They educate you just enough so that you think, oh, I got enough information, and then you don't go seek any further. For all the people with your advanced degrees, congratulations. However, you have a degree in minutia. You have a degree in focus. You have a degree in one area. That's microscopic. Not to take away from your work, I understand what it takes to get a degree. I only have one. I do understand, though, what it takes to get one. And I still say my degree is a worthless piece of paper. My experiences in college contributed way more than most of the information that I received there. Not all of it. There were some great teachers that I did have. But I think we all need to understand that there is some information we still need to get. You get up and make choices. You choose what you want to wear. You choose what you want to watch on television. You choose what food you want to eat. Some of you, this might be brand new, but stay with me and don't jump off the ledge. You're not making any choices. You are repeating patterns over and over again. And even the things that you think are choices that were given to you by other people for you to select from. The food that you can pick in your local supermarket is food that somebody said, this is what I will allow in this particular supermarket. When you go to your neighborhood and you try to find a fast food restaurant for a meal, those restaurants are curated to be in your specific neighborhood. You don't have choices. You have what's given to you. And many of us do not understand that. You don't have autonomy over your own body. And I'm not talking about abortion. I'm talking about if you try to kill yourself, they will lock you up if you are still alive. Unless you succeed, you're getting locked up. It might be in a psychiatric hospital. It is still forced. And it takes away your freedom. You think you live in a free country. These choices you don't make choices. You have a limited amount of things that people put there for you to play with because those are the things that they want you to use. Those are the things that they're going to use to make money. They're going to use Chick-fil-A. They're going to use Starbucks. They're going to use Dunkin' Donuts. They're going to use McDonald's. These are the neighborhoods we're going to put them in. This is why we don't have proper nutrition in our neighborhoods. Our food, the choices that we have in most urban neighborhoods actually create what's called a nutrition desert, where it means that the food that we have to eat doesn't give us enough nutrition. And this is on purpose in our neighborhoods. They purposely put supermarkets that don't supply us with enough vegetables for us to get the nutrients we need. Even the vegetables that they have are nutrient deficient. And unless you drive out to another place where you know that they are using what they call quote unquote organic, which is just a term for we didn't use a bunch of fucking pesticides, which is what everybody ate 50 years ago anyway. Not to say that they were healthier though, that's a whole other conversation. But you don't get to pick. Your choices aren't choices. They are things that are put in front of you. Your choices on television. You think you pick what you want to watch. You select from what's there. You don't even get to watch TV. There's very little free TV. You don't own what you have. You don't own Netflix when you get it. Or Hulu. You can only get a subscription that you pay for the rest of your life. And that's what they want. They want people who are going to get up and go to work every day and pay into systems for the rest of their life in perpetuity. They want their coffers secured by our labor. So, I don't know what else to. I don't have anything else to say about the man who died, Mr. Charlie Kirk, except I hope that his spirit is happy that he died the way that he lived. I hope his wife is proud that he died in the fashion that he preached was okay so many, many different times. I hope that the killer, that we can forgive that person, whoever they are, wherever you are out there. I don't know if they've caught you or not, but we are going to pray that we can all forgive you. I know I have. That's how I was raised. We forgive people. And that's all I have. This is just one thing I just want to say here. When you get rid of cancer, you ring a fucking bell. Bitch, why the fuck would we be mourning that cancer is killed?